Hey guys, on today's video we're gonna cover every single location and every single hotspot where it's possible to find every single of the new species on the new Alberta Hunting Reserve. So we're gonna start by going over the locations where it's possible to hunt the massive Wood Bison. The Wood Bison is by far the biggest species on the map, since they are able to reach weights up to 1300 kilograms. They are massive. The maximum level these bisons are able to reach is level 5 medium, which was to be expected for this surface species because the rest of the bison species also max at level 5, and as for the diamond score, they have to reach a score of 158 in order to make it. Now, going over the locations where it's possible to find these bisons, the Wood Bison is present on many different areas, but they are mostly present on the bottom half of the reserve, around here. All this region is part of the bison home range, so if you wanna hunt these bisons, what I would suggest you is to set the time between 800 and 1200 because that is when they drink, and simply try to visit as many of these lakes as possible. You are definitely gonna stumble across many hares, many bisons, and hopefully some giants. Now, in addition to be a very important part of the bison home range, this part of the reserve is also a home of many other species, being the only place where it's possible to find pheasants and pronghorn, as well as the region with the most gathering zones for beaver, and the only place where it's possible to find the beautiful wood duck. You know, if you wanna hunt, for example, the wood duck, the first thing you have to do, of course, is to buy some decoys on the store, these decoys, and you gotta place them on a place where these wood ducks are actually able to land. For example, right here. The bottom half of the reserve is essentially the wood duck home range, this whole region, so if you place decoys anywhere within this region, they are gonna land. These guys are simply a beautiful species, hell, I would even say they are by far the most beautiful duck species we currently have in the game. The striking colors and the shape of the head is amazing, so they are absolutely a very unique and fun species to hunt, and even though they inhabit a different home range in comparison with the northern pintail, it is still possible to hunt them both from the same setup in some places, like right here. This setup right here is essentially exactly at the border between the wood duck home range and the pintail home range, so it is possible to hunt them both from here. Hold up, look at that guy. That's a pintail, but it is different. Clearly different. I barely know the plumages of these guys, but that is very different to anything I've seen so far, so it may be rare. Maybe a rare, leucistic perhaps? I don't know. I can't wait to see a plumage, guys, because this could perfectly be our first trophy pintail here on Askiy Ridge. That would be amazing. Oh, piebald. She's a piebald. Nice. She's actually a rare, I guess. Should be a rare. Look at it. Now, going over the locations where it's possible to find what is perhaps the most popular species on this map, the beaver. First of all, it is important to know the beaver is a class 2 species that reaches a max level of level 5 medium and makes diamond with a score of exactly 30. They are literally the only species in game that is able to interact with the environment. For example, they are the only species that can actually make trees fall. Is it actually gonna drop? No way, it's actually falling down. Look at it! Wow. That is simply an amazing mechanic, which really makes this species something completely different, and I gotta say, they look amazing. The model is fantastic, and overall they are very fun to hunt. So, going over the locations where it's possible to find these beavers, the beaver can be found on 4 different areas, 4 different locations, which are right here, around this area, right here on this swampy area, up here, and right here. These 4 areas are the only 4 places where it's possible to find gathering zones for these beavers, which are essentially the only places where it's possible to see beavers drop in trees. It isn't something that happens often, but if you pay close attention, you may manage to capture that moment. So make sure to explore these areas and pay close attention to these spots in particular, because these are the exact spots where I found gathering zones for these beavers on my map, just for reference because you may have many more. Look! Snow geese. Look at that flock. There are many, and from what I've seen so far, this entire region has a lot of them. I see them flying here constantly. Right there. That's a big flock. Is there anything big on it? Nope. Nothing massive on that vlog, but I'm still gonna show a few because I really wanna see how they look. They should look great. Okay. They are landing. It's gonna be nearly impossible to drop the whole vlog, so we're gonna try to drop 3 or 4. That'll be good. Alright. We have the 12 gauge Cacciatore, which is essentially the Geese destroyer, the Geese nightmare. That one's alert. That will do it. Easy. Nice. Here we have him. Look at the plumage, guys. The wings look great, don't they? Okay, white morph. Safe to say this is the standard plumage, which is nothing special, but it is just as good as you would expect. Okay, in addition to the last location, another hotspot where it's also possible to find this species is up here. This whole area. It's super easy to spot them here, there are many flocks, so let's play some decoys. Hopefully something interesting will come in. Oh, level 4! About time. After several flocks, finally something that is in a mediocre level 2 or a level 3. Is it possible for them to make it at level 4? That is a good question. Hopefully. That's it, we hit 3. Still possible to hit that one. And that's it. First level 4. I'm excited to see what it scores. Let's see how big it is. Oh, it is in this one. So should be this one. Yeah, 3.53. He isn't massive by any means, but it is by far the biggest snow geese I've seen so far, so I'll take it. Now guys, something important. If you wanna hunt or set up a grind for any species in the game, one of the most important things you have to consider is where that species lives, the locations on which it is possible to find that species. Well, if you wanna know every single location for every single animal in the game, I highly recommend you to join my Discord server. I have spent hundreds of hours over the course of the last 5 years, also with the help of my community, exploring every single map in the game, and now we have every single hotspot map for every single species on every map. These maps have been receiving constant updates over the last few years whenever a new location is found, so up to this point they are quite accurate, and the most recent versions also show some extra important information about each species. The woodland caribou is a fantastic looking species, which surprisingly only inhabits a small section of the reserve, which is up here, this region, this top right region. Every single lake within this region is able to have woodland caribou drink zones, so if you wanna hunt them and easily find them, simply change the time to about 2100 because their drink time goes from 2000 to midnight. Such a cool looking species. They are classics, so make sure to carry a weapon that is able to hunt classics animals, for example the 308. Let's shoot this guy. He isn't huge by any means, I actually doubt he's gonna score higher than silver, but I wanna see the model. They look great. The scoring and the weight are actually exactly the same if you compare them with, for example, the reindeer and the caribou, which is something I'm not a huge fan of, but the model is way different. Such a nice looking species, the fur quality is honestly impressive. The next species on the list is essentially the only exclusive upland bird that is included on Alberta, which is the dusky grouse. The dusky grouse is a really beautiful bird species that goes up to level 3 very easy and makes diamond with a score of 151. The habitat of this species is actually nothing complex since they only inhabit the top half of the reserve, this whole area. This whole area has a great population of dusky grouses, but if you ask me, I would say my favorite spot within this region has to be this area. I have many zones here, it is loaded, the general home range is exactly the same, but the best locations can definitely vary. Is that what I think it is? Look at those antlers! Is that a level 5? Level 4. 492 top estimate, that is a huge estimate. His antlers are impressive. Is it possible for them to make it a level 4? That is a good question. You know, the Manitoban Elk is a class 7 species that goes up to level 5 medium and makes diamond with a score of 457. They get massive. Their home range is actually quite extensive, covering a great portion of the map, which means it is possible to find them up here. All this area has them. The central section of the reserve has a great population too. And of course, this area up here is also fantastic. It also has a great number of elk, which means that it is relatively easy to hunt them during their train time, which is from 400 to 800 at any of these lakes. Okay. This guy's alert. So let's shoot him. Simple shot. And that's it. Is it perhaps close to diamond? Hopefully. 414.9. He isn't that close actually. 457.56 is the diamond score, so he isn't that close, but he's still a giant. Huge elk, beautiful rack.